We'll see how it
Now, here is what Chuss has been kind of jabbing the entire show about. The Bengals won last night. They won very well last night against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football.
It was 24-18, yes.
But okay, that one it
Keep
was
going.
a good win. It was a
Keep
good
going.
win. I even have your text receipt here where you say Bengals pick up a big win against the Bills.
They do, and
Yes.
I do agree with that. But the quote that I had to edit out before in the chat was, and I quote, "The Bengals are the greatest football team to ever exist." Sunday Night Football recap.
Yes.
And
Because
I 100% disagree, because they are 5-3 for one, and number two, there are a lot of better football teams out there of all time than the Bengals. So
you're stuck in the past. I'm living in the present.
but you said of all time.
Yeah,
But
that's
of all time, that means we got to look back at like the 70s, Dallas Cowboys, Steelers, going far back.
We got more swagger. Bengals got more swagger than those guys.
Hey, man, they still got more Super Bowls than you. So
Logan Wilson. Logan Wilson is a linebacker, and he is tied for second or third, I think, for most interceptions in the NFL. Trey Hendrickson is up there. He might be top 5 now. I don't remember, for most sacks in the NFL. We got Dax Hill and CTB have 2 interceptions each, so they're going to be right up there for second in interceptions pretty soon. We have the best turnover differential in the NFL, +9, by the way. We have created 9 more turnovers than what we have given. And Joe Burrow's back. That's all you need to know. Joe Burrow's back. And he was throwing left and right. T. Higgins had a great game. Our tight ends had a great game. I want to apologize, actually. I am going to apologize to Nick Scott. If there is a person who I have hated on more on this show than anyone else, it is our safety, Nick Scott. You know what, buddy? You forced a fumble last night, so you've moved up a tier in my heart. Another guy, Irv Smith Jr., the starting tight end, you got a touchdown last night. You came out and you proved that we didn't need to trade you. Tanner Hudson came right off the practice squad, had a few big catches. Even Drew Sample, he was one of the fastest people on the field last night. Our tight end. We're going to be fine. We're doing great. I love this team.
This is the point in the season where Josh realizes that his team is just so unbeatable, but somehow they'll still lose in the playoffs.
No,
just let him. Everybody at home, just let him enjoy his fun, because this happens every year.
It happened. Okay.
We did this last year too, because you were
last year
the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. They are the greatest team. I've never seen a better Bengals team ever. You thought last year was good? Just wait until this year. So we've seen this before, Josh.
In this podcast existence, I have been right 50% of the time.
50%.
Right the first year. And we lost because of a BS holding call against Logan Wilson. Last year, we only lost the AFC Championship game because of a BS late hit on Patrick Mahomes against Joseph Asai, which the same exact hit happened in the Dolphins-Chiefs game with Van Ginkel, and they were like, oh no, that would never be called a late hit, ever. Why would that ever be called a late hit? And Bengals Twitter erupted.
So we'll see what happens, though.
What did you see last night that you're like, there are holes with the Bengals? What are the problems?
I didn't say necessarily that it's like the holes or anything. I mean, I feel like there's definitely some things that you could work on. I mean, first of all, yes, I think that your secondary is good, but I don't think it's like great. I think it is decent. I think it is pretty good, and you guys are winning games. But for a complete team, you need to be like offensively putting up good points and shutting down teams defensively to be considered a complete team. And the argument that you were making yesterday is the Bengals are the only complete complete NFL team at this moment. And I disagreed, because I thought it was the Eagles, but in my statement, that would mean that the Eagles are not complete either, because they've let up a lot of points. Granted, they've clutched up in a lot of games too, but they haven't gotten to that point. I feel like it's very hard to be a very complete team in this NFL nowadays. Like back in the day, it might have been a lot easier, but like it's very hard to be so complete that you are like perfect to the point where you're like me in Retro Bowl where you're winning 31-10 every game or more, because like, I mean, like, obviously you're going to have those divisional games where you're going to keep them close and stuff like that. But I feel like in some instances, like you guys have been shutting down a lot of teams recently, which is good. But San Francisco did have the injuries. Buffalo, for whatever reason, has been struggling. I really want to see what you guys do the next couple of weeks against these other AFC teams. And I genuinely mean that because you guys are 4-0 against NFC teams, but you have won one AFC game so far. So I want to see what you do against these other AFC teams because, the Colts beat Baltimore. The Colts lost by 1 to Cleveland. So obviously the Colts are out to get the AFC North teams this year. I want to see what you do against your other divisional games because you've only played, two divisional games? So, and I mean, and like regardless of like what's happening with like the other teams, like yes, Steelers are mediocre, Cleveland doesn't have an offense, and Baltimore is still Baltimore for whatever reason. They're ups and downs or whatever. So if like I want to see what you guys can do against like Cleveland's defense. Can you stop the Steelers' mediocrity? Can you actually blow them out, or will you fall victim to the Steelers' mediocrity? Like there's a lot of things that I want to see, and these next couple of weeks, like the rest of the season is actually going to show so much because you'll have one more NFC game and the rest are AFC games. So, and some of them are against the Chiefs, and you've got do you still have to play Houston?
We have Houston this coming week.
Yes,
Chiefs are later in the season. Colts are December 10th. We have both Steelers games. One Ravens game.
One Ravens, one Browns. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what you guys do because then at that point I'll be able to make the argument that I was also making yesterday was you guys are 5-3 in a playoff spot. If the Jets win tonight, you will fall out of that playoff spot because you don't have as many AFC wins. And that was the flaw that the Steelers had last year, was that they had more NFC wins than they did AFC wins. And because of that, Miami jumped us and there was all that other BS that was going on. So all I'm saying is just ride it out, and we'll talk about this conversation later in the season before we call the Bengals the greatest team ever.
I'm just, these boys. We got Yoshi. Yoshi's got more he's our wide receiver 6, and he has more touchdowns than Zay Flowers.
Well, Zay Flowers, buddy cannot get a touchdown for his life. I mean, he like I don't know what the heck's happening with him. I mean, he has good yardage. He just isn't catching those tutties.
I was worried about our tight ends, and to see our tight ends playing well, I always felt good. And to see Nick Scott do something was beautiful.
Because I don't think the Bengals are a bad team. I just don't want you to get ahead of yourself to the point where like
I am so ahead of myself.
And that's the problem is because like you're gonna end up in this world where you're like, this is our year, and then if you guys lose in some tragic way in the wild card, you're going to be so devastated that you're going to be drinking whiskey straight from the handle. Yeah, right out of your Butsy Bengals. Yeah, right out of the Bengals Butsy cup. So, but yeah, I mean, you guys will be fine. I am curious to see though. Nonetheless, I mean, so we'll see what happens.
We have this man. That's all we need.
Joe Burrow.
Joseph Lee Burrow.
I think you need Zach Mettenberger as your backup.
I don't know where his card went. I had it here.
What? I just
no. It's in the pile.
I bought Zach Mettenberger's card.
You just bought it, and it's in the pile to be mailed out. I just don't know where that pile is.
It's fine. It's fine.
Stan, did you have thoughts on Sunday Night Football?
It was a great game. I'd say I'm definitely leaning more towards Chuss's side. My main thing is the AFC is so much harder than the NFC this year, and I don't think there's been such a big difference that I've noticed, at least up until this year. So, I think you got to kind of, sit tight for now. Hope your team can keep it going, but we'll see what they do.
I'm so hyped. Although I am a bit worried now because no one who listens to the show knows who this is, but Brendan, our friend who knows nothing about football, the last 2 years has randomly picked teams to root for. 2021, he picked the Rams just based on their jerseys. They won the Super Bowl. Last year, he picked the Eagles. They went to the Super Bowl. So Now, this year, for the record, guys, he is cheering for the Lions. So Detroit Lions fans, there you go. You're going to the Super Bowl. I get why you guys are concerned though, but it's okay. It's our year. Just gonna leave it at that. Stan, now it's your time.
Because we're all three of us have like the almost identical records right now, and me and Stan are just happy with what we got right now. So like, and that might just be because of differences of teams, but yeah.
And I'm like, send it. I'm ready. I am ready to completely overreact to our win in the middle of the season on Sunday night.
Thanks for watching that video, guys. If you want to check out a most recent full episode of No Buts About It, that's going to be right over here. Yep, right there. Check that out. And if you just want to see more short clips, we're going to have one right over here for you to watch. Check out No Buts About It on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, so you can listen to us on the go. Once again, have a great day and go do something nice for someone.